You already know who this is about. That person who texts you at midnight when they're bored, who disappears for weeks, then acts like nothing happened, who keeps you around, but never quite close enough. And you keep showing up every single time. You tell yourself it's because you're loyal, because you care, because that's what good people do. But here's the part you won't say out loud. You're hoping that this time will be different. That if you just show up enough, stay available enough, prove yourself enough, they'll finally see you. They won't. And you already know that. You've known it for a while now. You just keep pretending you don't. Let me show you what's actually happening. When was the last time they changed their plans for you? When did they last check in without needing something? When did your time actually matter to them? Right. That silence you're hearing? That's your answer. This is what you're doing. You drop everything when they call. You rearrange your schedule. You wait by your phone, analyzing their texts, wondering if you said the wrong thing, if you were too much or not enough. And them? They're living their life. You're a convenience, a comfort, someone who'll always be there when everyone else is busy. They've learned something about you that you haven't even admitted to yourself yet. They've learned that your time has no cost, that your attention requires no effort, that you'll accept the leftovers and call it a meal. And the worst part? You taught them that. Every time you responded immediately, every time you made yourself available, every time you accepted breadcrumbs and pretended it was enough. But here's what you don't know yet. This isn't about appreciation. This isn't even about them being a bad person. This is about power. And the dynamics you're stuck in? They're designed to keep you exactly where you are. Let me show you how deep this actually goes. Right now, in their mind, you're not a person they're worried about losing. You're a sure thing, a safety net. And safety nets don't get prioritized. They get used when needed and forgotten when things are stable. Here's the mechanism you're trapped in. Intermittent reinforcement. Sometimes they're warm, present, everything you wanted. Then they vanish. Not completely, just enough to keep you working for their attention. It's the same psychology that makes slot machines addictive. Random rewards create stronger patterns than consistent ones. You keep pulling the lever because every now and then it pays out. And they know it works. Maybe not consciously, but they know. They know exactly how long they can disappear before you start to drift. They know exactly how much effort it takes to reel you back in. Just enough to keep you hoping. Thomas Hobbes wrote that people act in self-interest unless there's a compelling reason not to. Look at your situation honestly. What reason have you given them to treat you better? None. You'll be there anyway. You always are. And here's where it gets worse. You're not in a relationship with them. You're in an audition. You're constantly performing, proving, demonstrating your value, waiting for them to finally choose you. But they already chose. They chose the version where they get everything they want from you without having to give the same back. Why would they change that? From their perspective, this arrangement is perfect. Your loyalty, your time, your emotional labor, all available whenever they need it. No commitment required. No consequences for disappearing. No effort to maintain. You know what that makes you? Convenient. So let me ask you something you've been avoiding. If they could have you fully, no games, no distance, no disappearing acts, would they? Or do they prefer it like this, where you stay available but never quite get close enough to ask for more? Yeah, that's the question that keeps you up at night. But what if I told you everything you believe about this situation is wrong? The version of them you're loyal to doesn't exist. You're not attached to who they actually are. You're attached to potential, to moments, to the person they are when it costs them nothing to show up. But that's not the whole picture. That's a performance. The real them is in the patterns, the consistency, the effort when it's inconvenient, the follow-through. And by that measure, what are they actually showing you? Here's what you're refusing to see. They're not confused about how they feel. They're not scared of commitment. They're not dealing with stuff. They're comfortable. This dynamic works for them, and the story you keep telling yourself, that they just need time, that they just need to see how good you are for them, that eventually they'll realize, that's the story keeping you trapped. Because here's the real contradiction. You think if you just love them enough, give enough, prove enough, they'll finally match your effort. But people don't reward what's freely given. They value what has a cost. And you? You've been giving yourself away for free, wondering why they don't value what they never had to work for. Machiavelli observed that people judge your value based on how you price yourself. You've set your price at 0. You're always available, always understanding, always willing to accept less than you deserve. So they treat you like you're worth exactly what you've asked for. Nothing. If your absence doesn't register differently than your presence, you were never a priority. You were filling a slot, a role, the person who's always there so they never have to risk being alone. And the hardest part? You can't fix this by being more available. You can't love someone into choosing you. You can't prove your way into being valued. You can only stop participating in a dynamic that diminishes you. So what do you actually do with this truth? That's next. Here's what changes today. First, stop being available. Not as a game, not to manipulate, but as a practice of self-respect. You have a life that matters, priorities that don't shift every time they remember you exist. When you're always available, you're not being kind. You're teaching people that your time is negotiable, that your presence is guaranteed, that effort is optional. And people who value you won't make you prove it repeatedly. Second, match their energy exactly. Not forever, not as punishment, but as information. Mirror their effort, their consistency, their investment. If they don't notice when you pull back, that tells you everything. If your absence registers the same as your presence, you were never a priority to begin with. This isn't about waiting for them to chase you. It's about seeing clearly whether they ever valued what you were giving. Third, walk away if nothing changes. Not dramatically, no speeches, no explanations. Just stop participating in a dynamic that costs you your self-worth. Jean-Jacques Rousseau wrote that inequality begins when someone claims something and no one challenges it. You've let someone claim your time, your energy, your emotional availability while offering nothing in return. The imbalance isn't accidental. It's structural, and you're the only one who can dismantle it. Will it hurt? Absolutely. You're going to feel guilty, selfish, like you're the one giving up. That's your conditioning. Years of being taught that your needs matter less than keeping the peace. That asking for effort is asking for too much. But think about it this way. Would you treat someone you loved the way they treat you? No, because you understand that real connection requires consistent effort. And so do they. they're just not applying it to you. So repeat this. I am not a backup plan, and I don't audition for people's time. Say it again and mean it. I am not a backup plan, and I don't audition for people's time. Your presence is a gift, not a guarantee. Your time has value, and anyone who treats you like an option has already told you how this ends. Stop waiting for them to realize your worth. Start acting like you already know it. Because you do. You've always known it. You were just hoping you wouldn't have to enforce it. But now you do.
If this hit home, like this video so others stuck in this pattern can find it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe. We're going deeper into the psychology of manipulation, self-respect, and what it actually takes to stop accepting less than you deserve. You're not an option. Stop accepting a position you'd never offer someone else.